Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest news updates. A lot to get into today. Still buzzing, not like completely buzzing, but really happy with the point yesterday. After drawing with Man City, boring Arsenal. They say we absolutely do not care. We're looking forward to the game on against Luton on Wednesday, and our job keeps on going. But the more we approach, we're now in April, by the way. That means we're closer to the transfer window, and there's a lot of news coming up. And one of them is the striker situation. Obviously, yesterday we missed a couple of not clear cut opportunities. Maybe the Trossard one was I'd say 70%. Maybe you need to maybe score, and the one for Jesus maybe both of them at least get them on target. And obviously after that game, as usual, despite Arsenal scoring 70 goals this season, obviously the talk is Arsenal need a striker. And listen, that's true. In a game like that, you don't get too many chances. You do not get too many chances. When you get one or two chances, at least put them on target. That's what you need to do. Now, Jesus has gotten a lot of criticism after that game. Some people are saying sell him. I don't want Jesus to go anywhere. I still want him to be an Arsenal player next season. But I still definitely want us to get a striker. And today we've been linked to a striker. And some sources, some inside sources are actually saying that he's top of the list, and we've been linked. We've been targeting him for a couple of months now. But if you look at it, this particular player, we've been linked to him since he was in Spain. I remember 3 years ago, we were linked to this player before he joined Newcastle. Which player am I talking about? Alexander Isak. So according to reports, Isak is attracting interest from Arsenal among others. And Newcastle chief executive Darren Ailes said in January that every player has their price given the need to trade in a world of profit and sustainability rules. So this is according to ZRAFC. So Isak is part of the striker group that we are looking at. Now, he does fit the bill. Number one, the age bracket. Remember the other day we talked about the striker and the age bracket we are kind of looking for. And it's basically below 25, and Isak is 24 years of age. He fits into that bracket. In terms of strikers who are 28, 29, we are not going to get that. We are targeting the younger strikers who are going to fit with the rest of the team. Number two, he's played in the Premier League now for a couple of seasons, and he's used to the Premier League. He scores a lot of goals. This season already, Alexander Isak has scored 14 Premier League goals in 21 games. Yes, a couple of them are penalties. Recently, we've seen him score a couple of penalties, but listen, penalties are still goals. I usually don't agree with people who say, yeah, they're only scoring corners or counterattacks or penalties. All those are goals. As long as we score more goals than it does not matter how we score. To get that penalty, it means you had to foul someone and they're going to score. So most of the times when they're going to score, you're going to foul him. So for me, as long as he can score those penalties as well, great. And he gets himself into some really good positions. Now, Alexander Isak, there's two particular goals he has scored this season that I've been really impressed with. One of them was against Liverpool at Anfield. That's not the way XG counts or breaks down the chances. It's not like a 1.00 chance of you scoring, 100% chance of you scoring that goal or that chance. There's a couple of chances he's gotten, and he's basically maneuvered into a good position by himself, like Liverpool away and Chelsea away as well. Those two goals really, really good. And we were linked to him since his Real Sociedad days. I think that was before we signed Jesus. It was looking likely we'd sign Isak instead of any other striker we were linked to in that transfer window, but it didn't really work out. And at that time, I still felt it was too expensive, and Newcastle ended up paying 60 or 70 million for him, and it's worked out for him. But another thing we have to look at is obviously the injury record. And this season, I think he's missed, last season he missed 12 games. And this season is missed 10 games already or something like that. I have that stat here, Sam. I think last season, missed 16 games with the thigh injury, and he's missed 10 games this season with a groin injury. Now, obviously, we have to look at the injury record. Those are only two injuries. During his Real Sociedad days, he didn't really pick up that many injuries. He played 37 games in 2019, 2020. He played 34 the season after. He played 32 the season after. So another thing we need to look at is maybe it's Newcastle and their injury record as well, because Newcastle have had a lot of injuries the last 1 year. Wilson has picked up several injuries. Gordon has picked up an injury or two. Lascelles is now injured. Botman is now injured. Trippier has picked up injuries this season. Joelinton is injured. Newcastle have picked up a lot of injuries this season. So it could be something to do with their medical team and not Isak, because Isak back in Spain with Real Sociedad, he was doing really well and he was not really missing games through injury. So maybe if it comes to Arsenal, things are different. And another thing we need to look at is we are not bringing him in to play 38 games out of 38. Rotation is there. So Isak plays 2 games, next game Jesus is there. Isak plays 1 game, next game Havertz can play up front. Jesus plays here, Trossard can play up front next game. So out of those 38 games, really need Isak to be fit. Obviously, the whole season, ideally, but if he's fit for like 30 games and he's not injured, or he's like maybe misses 3 or 4 games through injury, that doesn't really matter. And as long as we have good backups in Jesus and Havertz and that, absolutely no problem. So I do feel like he'd be able to keep himself fit if he made the move. But obviously, it's going to be tough for him to make the move. I've mentioned Sociedad. Another reason why we wanted him at that time, he had just signed Martin Odegaard, and we did not need any time to adapt. One, he's played in England before, and number two, he's played with our creative midfielder before. He's played with our number 10 back at Real Sociedad, and they had a very, very good relationship. So it's basically like, it reminds me of the Aubameyang Mkhitaryan one, when you signed Mkhitaryan and then Aubameyang followed up. It worked for a year. The combination by Mkhitaryan kind of dropped off, and then Aubameyang continued scoring for like a couple of more years before he dropped off as well. But these two already have a relationship, and I still feel like it'd be a very, very good signing. If you had to ask me for my top 5 list of strikers that I'd want, Isak would probably be there, Watkins would be there, Gyokeres would be there, Osimhen would be there, and I'm not sure about the fifth one. I'd have to sit down and look at it even more. In terms of more on Isak and the news on him potentially transferring to Arsenal, according to ZRFC, Alexander Isak is attracting more. Did I already read that? Yeah, he was first on the news pretty much. So it's basically the same thing, but it's from ZRFC. Alexander Isak is attracting interest from Arsenal among others. So it's not just Arsenal who want him. There's other teams who would be willing to get him. Now, I don't think Man City would be there since they have someone like a Haaland, but teams like Liverpool potentially, Chelsea is looking for a striker, even though they have financial problems. I'd not be surprised if they came in for Isak. And this is a player who can attract interest from an AC Milan or an Inter Milan or Juventus or Barcelona. It's not surprising at all. He's already played in La Liga before. He's played in the Bundesliga before at Dortmund. They didn't play too many games. He's played in Sweden. He's played in Netherlands. So he's played several different places. So he'd not be too bothered about not going like international. Like if he went to Germany and stuff, he'd not really be too worried. So there's going to be competition, but how much do they want for him? That is what I'd really be interested in. But let me know, what do you make of his injury record the last couple of seasons? And what do you make of his finishing as well? Personally, I think some of the goals I've seen this season are really, really good, and some of them he basically creates for himself. I think Newcastle have a really good player there. So that is the latest on Isak. Now, he's not the only striker that we want. We also want Viktor Gyokeres, and this is the latest on him. According to reports, Viktor Gyokeres is set to be sold this summer by Sporting, who will demand £68.5 million. So not as high as what we've been told the last few weeks in terms of 90 million, 100 million release clause or something. It has sparked interest from Arsenal, who has been scouting the powerful forward this year. As we've always said, his numbers this season, absolutely astonishing. Like for someone to get almost 40 goals and almost 20 assists in a single season, those are like Thierry Henry numbers, Usually, if you ask a striker to break down like their 50 goals, if it's Czech strikers who've had like 50 goal contributions in a season, you'll find 45 goals, 5 assists, 40 goals, 10 assists, something like that. But in terms of balance, very hard. Thierry Henry used to have seasons where he'd have like 20 goals, 20 assists. Now, Gyokeres has a season of 34 goals, 16 assists. That is crazy, and I think that's like from the one week ago. I'm not sure how many goals he scored since I last checked his stats. He might have already added more goals. So he's a really, really good player, and at that less than 70 million, I think it'd be a very, very welcome sight. So again, he fits into our age bracket. As I said, this is what was said last week. Sources have explained that the top young striker category is the parameter to which Arsenal have narrowed their search for a new striker this summer. So we're looking for a young striker. Isak is 24. Gyokeres is young as well. All of them are younger than 25. So we are looking at all of them. Both of them I'd definitely welcome them at Arsenal. Any of them I'd be very, very happy with. So hopefully from all those strikers, Osimhen, Gyokeres, Isak, if we can bag one, we're in a very, very good place. We would be in a very, very good place. So let me know, who would you prefer between those two, Gyokeres or Alexander Isak? Now, Let's talk about yesterday. Now, Saka we went off yesterday for Martinelli. We saw Martinelli playing on the right side, maybe for the first time ever, and it was because Saka went off with what looked like another knock or something like that. But we have good news in terms of that. This is the latest news on Saka going off against which team did he play? Against Man City. Arteta said he just went out today with fatigue, nothing serious, and in terms of more on that, he said he's been out for a few weeks now with a little problem, but he went out with fatigue. So he did rest for the 2 weeks as he was promoting his chili sauce and all that. He didn't play in international games, which was good for us because you'd have gotten even more fatigue. Now, I've already recorded my video for Arsenal Luton preview, and I have my starting lineup there. Will I start him? Will I not start him? The video will be out on Tuesday. It's interesting because we don't have too many chances of resting players. Maybe apart from if you look at Luton at home or Bournemouth at home. So when are we going to rest Saka and Rice and Saliba? Obviously Saliba, no problem. He can play every single game. Same with Rice, especially Rice. Rice is very durable, but obviously, ideally, you'd want them to rest them for one game here and there, and then have them fresh for the next. Because the games that are coming up, I don't see where we rest these players at all. And those games are coming up like Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, like games in a row. Bayern Munich is coming up. Tottenham away is coming up. Man United away is coming up. Chelsea at home is coming up. Bayern Munich again is coming up. Brighton away. Wolves away. Aston Villa at home. We don't have too many chances of resting these players. Now, I'm not underestimating Luton at all, but it's a home game, so you'd expect it to win. But Luton, actually, from all the games we've played this season, I think Luton are in the top 3 of the teams that have given us the toughest games. But that was their place. I trust Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, but let's see how that one goes. So let me know what you make of Isak and Gyokeres. Would you choose the one who's played with Odegaard before, the one who's played in the Premier League before? Would you choose the younger one who's been banging in goals, almost 50 goal contributions, and hasn't really picked up too many injuries? Isak has picked up a few. What did you do with all that? And Saka, good news on him. He's not really injured. He's just fatigued, which is very, very welcome news for us. So let me know what you make about all that. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.